What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Turn of the Jets podcast. I'm your host, Will Parkinson, at WillPod11 on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, all 32 pod, Badlands as well. Middle of the off season here. Well, not really middle. We're kind of early on in the off season. We've been kind of talking about this for a little while now. Ashtyn Davis, Jets safety. Ashtyn, thanks for hopping on. Hope you're staying safe, obviously, in California, but the weather looks a little nicer, at least for right now, than it does here in New York. How you doing, man?
Yeah, thanks for having me. No complaints out here. Had to run from the cold a little bit, but no complaints. All is smooth sailing over here.
You're North Cali, right? Are you more North Cali where you're from?
Yeah, I'm up closer to the Bay Area.
Oh, there we go. There we go. That makes
Yeah,
makes a ton of sense. Obviously, I think going into the year, when we talked, last summertime, I don't think anyone kind of was really expecting that you'd be at home right now and you guys are kind of be in off season mode. Now you've had a week and a half to kind of sit on, I guess, the way the season unfolded and just the way the kind of whirlwind of everything the ups and downs of the year. Are you more like shocked you're in this position? Or you kind of just like, I don't even know what just happened. It was just such moves so fast.
yeah. I mean, I've had a couple weeks to digest it. Obviously, we were eliminated a few weeks with a few weeks to go in the season, so I had a few weeks to digest it. But obviously, going into the year, we had much higher expectations. With the guys that we brought in and the talent that we already had on the roster, so we had really high expectations. Really, nothing short of a Super Bowl was going to be, acceptable for us. So yeah, definitely a disappointing one, an unfortunate one, and a frustrating one for us as a team and me personally. But um, shoot, it is what it is. Here we are in the off season, and um, yeah, I don't know. Can't change anything about it now.
Yeah, no, look, I think at the end of the day, like, I don't know. I'm an optimistic person. Maybe it's just like, hey, like, do you feel like a little bit of there was any? I mean, this might be this is the hardest question I guess I'll ask you. Is like, do you feel like there was any carryover? I guess from all the excitement and hype of 2023, that whole off season, insane, like all this different stuff happening, all these different moving parts. Aaron Rodgers is coming, and like, do you feel like a little bit of it died on like that first game against the Bills? I know it's probably hindsight's 2020, but it feels like there was just this like culmination that like first 5 minutes of that game, and everything kind of was a little bit of a whirlwind after. Is there any like, do I have any point in saying like a little bit of it like it's just been a little bit of a clusterfuck since since September 11th, 2023?
Yeah, I don't know. Not for me personally. I still felt like we had goals that we could achieve. Being a part of that defense that was you know, top five in pretty much every metric for those, couple years. We were still hopeful. We were still optimistic that we could carry that team and, contribute enough to, you know, do good things. So I don't think it was, there was any wavering from inside the building. I felt like, a lot of the guys, obviously, you hate to see a guy go down and 4 plays in, especially, a guy like Aaron who, worked so hard in the off season and a guy that just makes everybody better on the field. But no, I feel like we weren't deflated after that. At least not inside the building, not me personally. But yeah, obviously you never like to see something like that. It's not something you're hoping for. And I know for a lot of people outside the building, it was like Armageddon. But
Yeah,
um,
that's
yeah,
the way to describe it. Yeah, no, it was one of the more surreal things I think. Just the energy in
yeah,
that building was kind of something I honestly haven't felt in a long time. I've been at a lot of college games, a lot of NFL games. It's like MetLife is, as much as people give MetLife a lot of shit, it is a massive stadium, and I don't think people kind of quite realize how many people you kind of really pack in there, even when the building's not entirely full. It's more people than are at most NFL games. For your year personally, we'll get into some more light and fun stuff here. Your year personally, obviously ended on a high note. Obviously you guys win, but more importantly, I guess, kind of for yourself, obviously you love playing against the Dolphins. You picked two off a couple of times. You had I think, fumble recovery last year against Miami. You had the two picks this week. This year, to end the season. How did you feel like your year went overall? And then just like, how did it feel to kind of finish on a little bit of a high, creating a couple of turnovers? I feel like that's always been kind of your thing. You always kind of had a
yeah.
knack for, causing turnovers.
I felt like, I had kind of limited opportunities this year, but tried to make the most of it when I got on the field. Um, you know, we had unfortunately, Chuck had a bit of an injury in that Bills game, so got to step up into a starting role for the first time in the last game, and was able to kind of do my thing. It felt good to I don't know. It felt I was able to play free and play play a little bit more of a natural role for me and not think so much. We're eliminated from playoffs, and um, just out there having fun with DJ. Like I mean, me and DJ have been talking about it for weeks now. Just having fun, getting back to playing football again, and not playing so robotic. And I think that's what showed up for all of us. There was a lot more celebrations, a lot more just smiles, and having a good time. Getting back to the basics. We're playing a kid's game for a king's ransom, and um, realizing that, and getting back, like I keep saying, just getting back to the basics and having a good time playing the game you love with your boys. And I had made a tweet that some people took the wrong way. I said, I found the love for the game again in year 5, and I think some people will see whatever they want to see, and things like that. But for me, it was a positive thing. You get introduced to the NFL, and some of the purity of the game kind of gets like convoluted with the business side or the politics or whatever. And um for me, and like this year, I found like other ways to show up to work, and realizing that like I'm playing the game that I love. And the younger me would be super proud of where I'm at, and just showing up and having a good time with the guys, and showing up for them, showing up for just finding other reasons to come to work, other than like selfish ones. It's not about your own legacy or whatever. It's getting back to just having fun and playing football. And I think that really helped me take some weight off my shoulders and play play my brand of football again.
Yeah, no, it makes a ton of sense. I think everyone kind of goes through that. Even at a smaller scale, like playing in college, like you go through
Yeah.
that too, where it's like it's not. I had times where I'm like, "Yo, what is going on? Why am I not playing? Why is this guy playing over me? Whatever." And it's like you kind of just like have to find different ways to like get yourself going during the day, and then it kind of all works out for it in the end. It's just everyone's got a different path and different things like that. One question I kind of want to hit on, just as we're talking about kind of year in the last couple years overall. Multiple people like, as I had people that listen to the pod kind of submit some questions. One of them was like, how are you always right there with turnovers? Do you think it's something? Do you think being someone that causes turnovers and create turnovers, like no shade towards anybody, but I do feel like a quote unquote issue with the defense as well as everyone's played. There hasn't been enough turnovers caused. You guys have all talked about it. Coaches have talked about it, trying to get your hands on the football more. It feels like even sometimes in limited opportunities, you're always around the football. Do you think that's a natural instinct? Do you like work on that? How does that happen?
Um,
Because everyone,
yeah, I work on
he's
it.
around
It's
the
kind
ball
of
all the time, and he's not, maybe he doesn't create as many turnovers, and vice versa. No shade, it's awesome. Just in general, it could happen from time to time.
I don't know. Yeah, I think just it's intent, and I'm always thinking about it. Like if I see any air behind that ball, like I'm punching at it. And some guys punch at it to punch at it just to show up on film or something like that. But I'm really trying to like get the ball out or hurt, or at least hurt somebody when I'm throwing my punches. And so from that aspect, yeah. And then I also just feel like uh when I'm playing in the deep third or quarters or whatever, like when I'm deep, when the ball's thrown, I feel like it's my responsibility to get it. So um I don't know, like I just feel like maybe my intent is there all the time, and I'm just focused on like my college coach, Gerald Alexander, the guy switched me to safety. He always preached like the ball's oxygen, and that the ball's everything. So you could mess up, give up an explosive. They could be in the red zone, but if you get that ball back, none of it matters. So, um, I don't know, just preaching the importance of the ball, and always having that in the back of your head as you're making tackles or whenever it's in the air. Like that's all I'm thinking about. So, just I think it's just about being intentional.
Yeah, I think it's kind of sounds like it's almost a mental thing at that point where it's like your mentality is everyone's got a different mentality, different job. It almost feels like when you kind of embrace like, hey, I'm going to try to make a big play here, and like once in a while it might not work, but you look at some DBs around the league too, the Trayvon Diggs and these other guys that have been kind of become, hey, that's not a boomer bust, but at the end of the day, like if you take away the football, you're going to get paid for it. Um, One other question that got obviously it got announced the other day. Jets are going to be going back to London this year. I believe you've done the international game in London twice. I think 2021 in Atlanta, and then last year with Minnesota. What's the have you know? Is it like a totally different approach to that type of game? Because obviously, travel in the U.S. it's time zones and different things, but feels like there's not a perfect science to going over to London.
Yeah.
What's the approach or mentality maybe going over to play a game in a different country as opposed to just a different
Um,
state?
for me, it's not too much different. I'm lucky where like for whatever reason I haven't really been jet lagged. Like I've flown from the East Coast to Hawaii and still was fine when I got to Hawaii. And that's a what is that like a 6 hour difference? And I don't know, like I've never really experienced too crazy jet lag, but there's all kinds of different sciences. I think in 2021 we didn't sleep off. We went straight off the plane into a walkthrough, and then we did something different this year. And for me, I don't know. I don't think there's much of a different approach. I think the biggest thing is that the food's different. And I think we stayed an hour and a half from civilization. Really, we were out in the sticks, so. I think that was the only two main differences. But as far as like the performance stuff, that stuff is kind of just going to be what it is, and whatever's on the schedule, I'm going to do. And um, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't too much of a difference. I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer for you
No,
there.
no. I think honestly, I think a lot of fans probably hear that as a refreshing thing. To be honest, I think a lot of people look at these games and almost overthink it. Of like you got to do these a million different things. Change all your different routines. You change these different things. And I actually think that's where people get in trouble with performances. Like you change too much. Athletes are creatures of habit, and like as
Yeah,
you obviously know, but like I want to I want to ask you one more. I'll ask you one more. Football thing, and then I kind of want to talk a couple. More fun topics here. Obviously, last year, first time being able to be a free agent, obviously come home and come back to the Jets. It's gonna be a different regime and things like that. And I know obviously probably can't say too much in terms of kind of what the future looks like. I know a lot of fans would like to have you back, and and all these different things. What's your approach? Is your approach any different this year, entering a second time? When as a free agent, and obviously you've only known one thing in the NFL. Is that how do you balance like wants versus needs versus new regime? Like, is there so much that goes into it, or are you kind of just like, I can't really control too much. I'm just gonna kind of wait and see what kind of comes at me, from a interest.
yeah. I think it's more so the latter. So just kind of waiting and seeing, what my options are, what's on the table, and but I would say like last year, I kind of knew what I wanted. I felt like we had uh, we had some pieces in place, and I was coming back to something familiar, and just a good situation, and a situation where we were going to be winning. At least that was my mindset going in, and so it was it was an easy one last year. This year, I really, like you said, have no idea um, how it's going to shake out or what's going to happen. So um, I'm not nervous at all. I'm more excited to see just what the next step is, wherever that may be, if it's here, if it's elsewhere. Um, I'm just kind of excited and letting it all work out. I think that hopefully I put enough good film out there where I'll have some different options to choose between, and um, when it comes time, weigh all my options and figure out what the best fit is for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, selfishly, obviously, hope you're back here, but obviously, I think it's going to be successful regardless. We'll get into some fun stuff. We don't have to make this too serious.